All right. Hope everyone's doing well on what appears to be a beautiful day. Maria, I don't have any public comments that I received. Anything in your office? No guests on the phone this morning that I'm aware of, Tom. All right. We all have the minutes from May 20th, 2021. Questions, updates, concerns, revisions? We'll jump right to it then. Farmington Valley Health. Do we have Jennifer or anyone on this morning? Okay. We're moving along. Mike, this is your kind of meeting, right? All right, Maria, town manager's report.
Good morning. So very good news to report in terms of our case numbers. We have not had, for the state data, any new cases in Simsbury reported for 4 consecutive weeks now. And I think when I go through the vaccination data, that will probably definitely support that. So we have right at the moment 17,770 of our residents who have received at least the first dose of the vaccine. It's just under 70% of the population. So how that compares to last month, it was about 16,249 folks who are vaccinated, or about 64%. And again, this is the first dose of the vaccine. We also have just about 62% of our residents are fully vaccinated, meaning that they have received their second dose. And amongst those folks ages 15 to 44, about 87.5% have initiated at least the first dose of their vaccine. For people between the ages of 45 and 64, we have just over 80% of people have initiated their first dose. And for those 65 and over, we're virtually or nearly 100% of those eligible have received their first and second doses and are fully vaccinated. So again, I think really good progress on the vaccination front, which definitely correlates to not seeing a lot of those new cases in the community. Similarly, our workforce is healthy. For the first time in quite a long time, we have not had in the last month and a half or so any staff members quarantined due to coming into contact with someone who has tested positive, nor have we had any staff members with positive cases. So that was very good progress for us as well. On June 1st, we resumed our pre-COVID normal business hours of operation for walk-in visitors. And that was at Town Hall, in the library. You may recall we have been gradually phasing in walk-in hours since the fall. But again, we did return to those normal hours of operation on June 1st. We are taking it a bit slower this summer in terms of our programming, in terms of event size and gatherings, things of that nature. But we are, I would say, pretty close back to normal at this point. And we are still asking our patrons and our staff members when they are in common areas of the building to please continue to wear face coverings at this time, especially at the library during the summertime. The library is frequented by many families with very young children who are not yet eligible for the vaccine. So just as a matter of precaution, we are still asking again staff members and patrons for a little while longer when in our buildings to continue to please wear a face covering. The executive order regarding your question. All right. The governor's executive order regarding remote meetings will expire at the end of this month. So a number of our agencies are going to begin to return to in-person meetings around June 28th. We have been working on testing. We've purchased and are testing a hybrid meeting technology solution called Owl Labs, which will help us be able to accommodate both in person as well as folks virtually. It's essentially a camera that looks like an owl and it picks up video and audio. It's a pretty neat system. So we're encouraged by that. And that's what I have for today.
Thank you, Maria. Any questions for the town manager? So just to tie a bow on that. So the next time we meet, we will all be able to be in the same room together. So just keep that in mind. You can certainly call in as we'll utilize that hybrid technology, but be looking forward to seeing everybody's smiling face again. And I will make sure that the tradition of coffee and pastries that are not good for any of us are there. So, all right, Michael Berry, Emergency Management, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize for the technical difficulties the last couple months in trying to get in. I finally got in, and so we're going to go ahead and see if we can get back to normal here. With the COVID, the numbers, as Maria alluded to, are very good. We thank all the residents for their diligence in getting the vaccinations and continuing to work forward with this. The clinic stopped at the library, so we are no longer providing a COVID clinic within town. However, residents can get them from CVS and Walgreens and the other agencies, and they can always go online and look to see where they can get vaccinated if they're still need to get vaccinated and want to get vaccinated. As for the weather front this month, we had really no major weather issues. Tom will probably disagree with me on that one, but there was nothing really severe that we had to take any action on. But from all indications, we are anticipating a busy season, so that does not mean that we should rest on our laurels at this point. I've talked with Maria about the state of emergency that the town is continuing to be in, and we are looking into possibilities of lifting it when certain things happen with the state, so we'll keep you advised on that. WSIM continues to pump out information. The things we're doing spots on right now continue to work with the wildlife ordinance, the police department, in cooperation with your Lock Your Door campaign. Conjunction with social services, we are pumping information about the energy assistance and the food bank. We work with the fire marshal's office on fire safety, and with the district, we are putting information out there that there is a recruitment drive in Terriffill. We still need volunteers to assist us up in that area of town. My assistant completed his ICS 300 course, so he's continuing his education, and he's continuing to work towards his bachelor's degree in emergency management, so he's doing a great job, and I thank you for that. I completed last month week 2 of 4 down at for the National Fire Academy. I was not able to attend it, so it was very interesting to do a 40-hour, 5-day-a-week Zoom class with about 80 people. So that was very interesting. They handled it very well. It was very professional, and some of the speakers there were top-notch, and we learned a lot of stuff that week. And the last thing I have is looking forward to this group is what is going to be the future of the Emergency Operations Center, and how much time and effort are we going to dedicate into training on it. We have proven over the last year that we can do a lot with Zoom meetings and coordination with texting, and it's going to be up to this body to see how much money, how much time, how much effort, how much training we want to put into the actual physical EOC. Now, I'm not saying get rid of it, because there's always going to be a use for it, but it just depends on how much this group wants to put in for training with it, because we know that training can get kind of dry, especially with the state drills that they put out. Sometimes the material that they have is not the most exciting. So it's something to think about, and we will be discussing it in the future going forward. And there's my report for May.
I appreciate that, Mike. And to that end, obviously, do we need to amend our procedures, right? Because a substantial weather event with widespread power outages, we're going to have the same connectivity issues that we've had in the past, right? Where the EOC is the place that we all have power and cell phone service. But for other type events where the connectivity isn't an issue, certainly something like this could be on the table, right? So it makes a lot of sense. Got to exercise those generators, right, Tom?
Always.
There we go. All right. Anything from Mr. Barry? Appreciate that update, sir. All right. Chief Bolter or Deputy Chief Davis, Police Department.
Good morning, everyone. No real update on the public safety radio system. We just continue to move forward step by step. So we're looking forward to that being completed, hopefully within the next month. As the Deputy Chief had mentioned at our last meeting, we were in the process of hiring 2 new recruits for the police department, and we did hire 2. And so they are in the police academy right now, and we are expecting to have them out toward the end of this calendar year, and then completed with their on-the-job training in about April of next year. So we're looking forward to that, and still trying to fill our third, or final, I should say, police officer vacancy. And then just to update on stolen vehicles, and I'm knocking on some wood here as I say this, we have had 5 stolen vehicles so far this calendar year, compared to 13 last year. I don't want to say that this is a trend because it still is happening throughout the entire state. And I would like to encourage people to continue to be vigilant in locking their vehicles and not having their keys and key fobs accessible. We still are having vehicles that are unlocked that are entered and are gone through. We don't know if those people were trying to take the vehicles or not, and they didn't locate a key or a key fob. But continue to lock your vehicles and remove any things of value. And the other thing that we are dealing with and have been for a couple of years now throughout the entire state is standalone ATM thefts. So we have had a couple in town here, and most recently within this last week. It is a statewide issue. There is a task force working on that. We are in collaboration with multiple other jurisdictions, and we are in communication with our businesses to let them know what is happening and the trends with that and how to prevent that. And that's all we have for the police department.
Did that, Chief. Commissioner Long, anything from the police commission side?
I have nothing to add. Thank you, Sean.
All right, appreciate it. And just a good story, because I always like to talk about the community policing impact. I was in one of our local coffee shops not too long ago, and one of the officers came in, and the owner of the coffee shop pulled out a gift card because a resident had prepaid for a gift card because of the services that our police officers are provided with making her and her family feel safe due to a bear call. So she had sponsored a gift card there, and there was in fact a number of them. So I thought just a nice, simple validation of the people in this town do appreciate what you folks do, and especially in a challenging year for officers around the state and around the country. It was a nice gesture to see. So,
thank you for bringing that up, and we have seen that throughout the community. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. So I thought that was a good one. All right. Ambulance, Karen, you want to start us off, and then I can help?
Sure, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. In light of everything kind of getting back to normal, my biggest update has to do really primarily with our Car 17 program, which is our second ambulance that we run and had been running pre-COVID, pretty much Monday through Friday. So our agenda at this point is to get that back to square one again and have it run primarily during the week. We've, in the past couple of weeks, hired 3 EMTs per diem. We have one EMT who is per diem has gone full time. We have a new full-time paramedic and another per diem paramedic. So our staff is definitely increasing over the past couple of weeks, despite the state shortage of people that are around to hire. So we've been very fortunate to entice some people to come work for our town, which is great. And I think it's very well received as a great town to work for, and that we have a service that has good equipment, vehicles, and supplies to be able to do an adequate job and be comfortable in their work and really provide the town the services that are required. So that being said, we're hoping to go forward in the next couple of weeks to get that going with Monday through Friday, with looking at those being the primary days of where we are the busiest, and then hopefully get to, run it 7 days a week is our ultimate goal. So that's pretty much where we are. That's what I've been concentrating on the past month or so to get that up and running, and we're moving along. So I'm very, very happy with what's been happening.
Appreciate that, Karen. And just to tie a bow on, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but I know there was a discussion around the letter that we received. And I have been in contact with Christine and others. I met with Maria, Karen, and Pete Tadone from the board of directors of Simsbury Ambulance about a week ago now. Had a really great discussion. Pete and Karen were able to articulate the trends that they had seen during COVID. And Karen, keep me honest here, with call volume down below normal levels, as most folks weren't out or doing necessarily things that would thankfully require the ambulance. But you've started to see levels return to more normal from a call volume standpoint. And as a result, Karen, you and the board have been watching the staffing levels and needs for Car 17 as they drop down and then now returned. And as you had just articulated, making sure that aligns with the Simsbury Ambulance's staffing philosophy pre-COVID of making sure that there's coverage for 2 ambulances when is needed most in our community, right? So
yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that was interesting to see is that despite If you were to look at dispatch information, call volume was still there. The biggest issue is that there were no transports.
Transports, right? Yeah.
So that's the big difference in all that. And that is what was detrimental to the service initially, but we've recovered, kind of gotten through that, and now we're seeing it back up again.
Right. And for probably common knowledge for everybody here, but for the folks listening at home, no transport means no opportunity for reimbursement, right, for that call.
That's correct.
So that is a bit of a challenge. Again, is an organization, all organizations run on people and funds. So when you're not able to recover the funds, it does put a strain on the organization. But I know you folks are actively looking at that. And again, what I took away from that meeting with both you and Pete, and obviously the town manager, is that Simsbury Ambulance has been proactively looking at this issue throughout the pandemic and now, and that I felt very comfortable with both yours and Mr. Tadone's involvement in making sure that we're providing the ambulance service that everybody in the town needs and expects. And, at this point, I know you provided some additional data yesterday. Simsbury Ambulance is absolutely in compliance with the contract we have between the town and Simsbury Ambulance, and that's important. There are pressures. And again, I'm sure we went into it last meeting with, when mutual aid's involved. Maria and I did look at the call log, and yes, it was 30, 31, 32 minutes until an ambulance responded to that particular case. But, if you review the call log, you can see that the chain of events, dispatch did exactly what dispatch is supposed to do. The system did work. Unfortunately, there is time involved in implementing, that mutual aid system, as again, everybody on this phone call knows. And it's unfortunately a challenge that small towns like ours across Connecticut and the country face. And that there is a risk for when the first, or honestly, even the second ambulance is out, either locally or on a mutual aid. If there's a second, third, or fourth call, we're relying on other communities and other agencies to help us out. And sometimes they come from Granby, sometimes they come from Canton, and sometimes they come from Yukon. And there's mileage and time that's involved with all that. So, I was also heartened to hear that the board and Karen are looking at talking to other agencies. We've got a volunteerism challenge in this country, in this state, in this town, as folks are working harder than ever. So I was really encouraged by the proactive mindsets of making sure that we're providing the services we need to, both locally, and if we need to expand that with other agencies, either within the borders of Simsbury or outside. So I know there's been a lot of talk on this. I've gotten questions from residents. Folks are obviously concerned, but as I said to somebody 2 days ago, when you call 911, we will show up. And I know you all pride yourselves on that. We've got the police that respond. We've got Simsbury Ambulance that responds. Obviously, the fire department does an excellent job responding. So I have a lot of confidence, and I'm very comfortable saying that when residents call 911, you folks will be there. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I would like to footnote this. The CAR 17 program was recognized several years ago as a need that the town needed without being asked to provide it.
Yep.
We were being very proactive back in 2017 and 18 when Michael Delahanty was still in charge of the association, where we recognized that the town was getting bigger, call volume was increasing, and we felt it was on us to provide the service to the town without even being asked to do this. I'm not saying that we're not tooting my horn, but we recognize the need for it. And that's our goal. That's always going to be our mission. And we will always be looking at that and expanding as needed as what the town requires for an ambulance service. Just period. That's bottom line. We will always be doing that.
Appreciate that, Karen. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Karen or myself on what we just talked about? And again, Maria, thank you for being part of that conversation and letting us use your office for the first in-person meeting I've had in 16 months. So that was, it was nice to be back in the house, or back in the town hall, not in this house. All right. Fire. Chief Baldus, there you are.
And I first have to apologize to Michael. I'm not sure if you guys heard all of the background noise. I didn't realize I was on mute. If you heard a bunch of barking dogs, it's my two one-year-old puppies that were deciding to play right next to my computer.
The realities of Zoom, Chief. That's okay.
Yeah, that's for sure. So anyway, and thanks again. We have been pretty busy coming into the summer months. Fortunately, things have been quiet, knock on wood, on the mountain and so forth from that perspective. But we've been busy doing a lot of training. Had a mountain rescue drill last month And now we are working on doing boat drills. So if you see us with some boats on the river on Monday nights, we are doing some drills and training with our 2 different boats on the river, obviously in anticipation of the need there. We're also working forward, setting up for obviously the incoming Talcott Mountain Music Festival with providing, for incident command system there, lighting and fireworks protection for that event that's coming up on the 2nd of July. Unfortunately, we did get some bad news on our quint that we had ordered and we're expecting this spring. That's been delayed again. This is a victim of the COVID and also some of the material shortages, chips and things of that nature that is impacting the construction of this vehicle. So now we're looking at our quint to be delivered sometime in the fall. So we'll keep you posted on that. But in the meantime, we still run with our Tower 11, or excuse me, Tower 12. And so we're certainly well protected from that perspective. As many of you may know, some may not, we did have a significant house fire on Banbury to the end of last month. It unfortunately did damage the house enough that it was not going to be inhabitable, but we were able to get in and get the fire stopped to protect a good number of the personal belongings of the occupant. And we were able to respond on that day and left without any injuries reported whatsoever. And we're always thankful for that and thankful for the job that our volunteers do in that regard. And that's what we have for today. And Patrick Torville's with us, our fire marshal. So I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thanks, Jim. Just talking really quick, July 2nd, as the chief just alluded to, we'll have our fireworks show with the Talcott Mountain Music Festival. Those permits have been submitted to the state, so that should be a go. We also, we're using fireworks as a theme here. Moving forward for the 4th of July week, I'd like to work with all the town agencies in getting out a public education campaign on what is legal in Connecticut. As we all think, fireworks are illegal in Connecticut. However, sparklers are legal. That happened several years ago. So we're going to have a campaign out. I'll email it out to everyone. Please put it on your social media venues and everything else so we can educate the town a little bit. Last year, we saw an incredible increase in the use of consumer grade fireworks. The police department, I'm sure Chief Bolter can attest that they were very busy with complaints. As I left to go to a complaint myself from Terrifil, I drove down the hill and it was probably the most spectacular fireworks show I've ever seen, seeing the whole town of Simsbury with fireworks in the air. So we want to work and try to get that curbed this year. It is anticipated that it will be just as bad or if not worse than last year because they kind of opened the fences last year. So with your help and that, we'll put a campaign out to take care of that. That'll help enforcement, safety, and even on the EMS side for injuries, with burns and things like that. They're very associated with fireworks. Also, we'll be working forward in the next year to reduce the number of false alarms we have for the firefighters for smoke alarms. Smoke alarms out there, we have an issue in town where many of our smoke alarms, in fact, everyone's probably looking up their ceiling right now saying, is mine 10 years old? And that's the last time we tested it. So we're going to do a really big campaign this year to actually try to get that down so we can reduce our numbers of false alarms, which of course will move on to the taxpayers and saving money and wear and tear on our volunteers and equipment. So that's going to be in the works for this year. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Gary Wilcox from the district. Gary, do you have anything else?
Yeah, the only thing that I have is that we are approaching the end of our budget year. We've done well, and we hope that we will have a surplus as we have had in years before that will carry back into the budget.
Always good news to hear. All right. And Patrick, you're absolutely right. That smoke detector right there was changed recently because an employee of mine actually pointed out that the paint color was wrong and it clearly was too old to be functioning. So it is a good reminder, and that is a new one. So, but it's easy to forget that. And for those of you at home that don't know what the heck a quint is, I Googled it. It is a combination pump and ladder, Chief. So
Yes, that's correct. Actually, I'm glad you pointed that out. I have to be careful about using terminologies that the general populace may not know, but exactly just that. It's an engine that has a ladder fixed to the top of it, so it serves multiple functions for us. And we're very excited to have this coming in. It'll be the first that we have of this kind, and we're really looking forward to it. Thanks for the clarification.
I appreciate that. I was wondering if I was back in Jaws or if I had missed terminology in all my years on here. So, all right, Neil, Board of Education. Hopefully you're enjoying summer, my friend.
Yeah, it's my first day of vacation. I started it with a public safety meeting.
Well,
So
it's 8, not 7. So we got you to sleep in an hour. So
thanks. I appreciate it.
no problem.
Yeah, so we are thrilled in this year, unlike any other, to have made it to the finish line, culminating with a fabulous graduation at Simsbury Meadows. So thank you to the police and the Performing Arts Center and other town agencies that help support that important community event that went off with an A+. So thanks to everybody who helped with that. The summer programming is actually around the corner, probably starting in the next, not next week, but the week after that, that some of our summer academies and programming through the Department of Continuing Education will kick into gear, and all safety protocols are going to be in place for that. And then the one thing I do want to let the community know is that the timing is going to be a little bit strange, but due to a federal grant that is assisting school districts, it's called the Esser Grant. And what school districts need to do is sort of issue a reopening plan. So this is because it's a federal grant. There are places in the country that are opening up for the first time. So it feels a little silly to be issuing a reopening plan when you were able to accomplish reopening for many, many months now. But we need to be sending a communication out to our parent community because there's a requirement that you invite feedback. So probably Tuesday of next week, I think that's the date it's scheduled to go, that community members are going to receive an email from Superintendent Curtis talking about this reopening plan. It's a brief document. Our goal for the fall is to open as quote unquote normally as possible. We are still awaiting guidance on what the mandates will be with regard to masks. We've had quite a bit of communication from the community, hopeful that masks will not be necessary in schools come the fall. But we don't know that yet. So our plan says that our goal would be for it to be mask optional in the fall, but we obviously have to await guidance from the Department of Public Health and the State Department of Ed and the governor's office before we can make that call. And then in terms of our ongoing safety efforts, the major project for this summer is the completion of a secure locked vestibule at the front of Tooten Hills School entry to kind of get up to where the standard that we're at with almost all of our schools at this point, with just Tooten Hills and Terriffill to finish off. So that's where I'll leave it if anybody has any questions.
You, Neil, any questions for Mr. Sullivan? All right, sir, go enjoy the vacation before everybody's back. All right, we'll move right along to Tom Roy, Public Works.
Oh, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Well, Mike Berry kind of touched on, it's been the beginning of thunderstorm season so far. Fingers crossed we've done well. A few trees here and there, but nothing too substantial. We just last weekend on the 12th held one of the two household hazardous waste events that we do here in Simsbury. Kind of a different level of public safety, but we do offer a shredding along with that. So we're going to be doing that again in October, but it's a great chance to kind of get rid of some of those household chemicals and any extra private papers or anything else that you might have around the house. So other than that, hoping for a quiet next couple of weeks, and that covers everything.
There you go. All right. Social services. Do we have Kristen this morning, Maria?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to report that we're doing very well at Eno. We have, as you've heard already, been reopened. We're back to our pre-COVID hours. All of our staff are back in the building, also staying healthy. And we've been very excited to welcome back our seniors to the senior center and our clients to social services. We're starting this summer with some small programming. We'll be having some smaller programming indoors. We've started with some of our card games. Our bridge club has been able to meet. Our painters have met. Smaller activities like that. And we've also had some activities outside. Last week we had a really great ice cream social. So it's just been really nice to see everybody that we've missed for more than a year. And we're looking forward to expanding our programs and services, hopefully after Labor Day, if things continue to go well. With our food programs, we're starting to scale back. We're looking to go back to more of a pre-COVID style over the coming months. So you might hear more about that. And we're going to be pushing out a few programs before the close of the year with our Youth Service Bureau. So please either check our website or our Facebook page, our senior newsletter, and let us know what you'd like to do to join us. We're really happy to be back in our building. And that's pretty much what I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.
All right. Nancy, VNA.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
On behalf of the Farmington Valley Health District, I will, since we partnered with them, just speak to the fact that we have finally, last Saturday was our last COVID clinic, and we helped them with certainly a number of volunteers actually give out 20,000 vaccines in 4.5 months. So it's an amazing project. We've said it before, but I always bears saying again, I will thank fire, emergency preparedness, police, everybody that helped us pull off all of those events at all of the public places. I mean, I think I saw Michael Berry help people in and out of the buildings constantly because some of the people could barely walk out of their cars. But it was such a concerted team effort. It was a huge success. And, I'm grateful that we've gotten to the point where the community is really in a good place with vaccination status. So we are done with that. We are done with the homebound delivery, going to some people. We tried to reach out to everybody that we could in a lot of different media facets to find those people that might be home that, people were wondering about, couldn't get out. So as much as the health district and our VNA tried to reach out to the community and the towns at large, I think we've captured as much as we could. So that's really nice. I do know that the state is certainly getting back to business because on Monday morning, the Department of Public Health walked in our door for a hospice survey. We get surveyed every 3 years for all of our licensed services. I'm grateful to say it's done and that we were extremely successful with a clean survey, but they are back in order working again. So I think the world is getting back to normal. Everything else here is good.
Good to hear bureaucracy is back. That's excellent.
Yeah. And they came with an advanced, bigger team this year to look at more things, but it all turned out okay.
Good. As a taxpayer, that makes me feel great. Excellent. Well, appreciate all your hard work. Any questions for Nancy? Sarah, Main Street.
Good morning. We've stayed incredibly busy, as I think everyone else on this committee has. But again, I'll keep my remarks just related to public safety. Thank you to Chief Bolter and to Detective May. As he mentioned, The business outreach plan that Main Street put in place with the PD has worked very well. We were able to immediately notify our businesses of the ATM thefts, especially the ones that have the standalone ATMs in their buildings. So just for increased vigilance and also to let the residents know. There's been an increase in activity as we see all of the events start to pick back up as people are doing outdoor dining with this gorgeous weather. So just a reminder to the public to just be extra careful of pedestrians, cyclists, etc. We have a ton of people using the roadways right now. I want to recognize that we did a ribbon cutting, the town of Simsbury, with the loan locker. And the way that obviously is related to public safety, even though the loan locker has been up and running at the Apple Barn. Just a reminder to those that are watching that it's a place where people can go and borrow equipment for free from the town of Simsbury. It's a fantastic program with aging and disability. And I know many of you guys were in attendance as we did the ribbon cutting the other night. And then finally, I want to thank Tom Roy. Tom and I met with the northern businesses, which are now called the Hoskins Commercial District. We met with them in the first week of June, and we went over a $1.1 million sidewalk plan that will help provide increased safety to all of the businesses. It's going to go from Antonio's all the way up to the commuter lot in the north, and went over with them what that will entail, where the curb cuts are, where the sidewalks are. As that plan begins to move underway, we'll keep this committee updated, but really great news for connectivity, for the residents, for cyclists, for pedestrians, just increased safety as we start moving forward with that plan. So just very busy, and that's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Great reminder on that Northern Gateway project. All right, Mark Massaro, Eversource, and I love those wind turbines. I like that picture. That's pretty cool.
They sure are, and hopefully we'll see some of this kicking off in the next year or so. We have a partnership with a company called Ørsted, a Danish company, and hopefully we'll be bringing some clean wind power to the state of Connecticut in not too distant future. So I just want to thank Chief Baldus. He invited us to the Hartford County Fire Emergency Plan annual dinner last evening. So we presented some of the updates that we've done to our partners over the last month or so for the annual emergency response plan updates. What we look forward to in our municipal, what we're calling our municipal hub, what will be available for municipal officials and fire, police, to see in real time, what is happening in their communities. So that technology's in the testing phase right now. We showed a few quick snapshots of that last night of what that's going to look like. But we're still heavily involved in, cleaning up any glitches that are within that and doing quite a bit of internal testing on that. So we were able to prepare and get that ready for hopefully late summer to have that out to everyone and start providing training to all of the leaders in our emergency response partnerships, and also city and town dispatchers that will have access to it 24 hours a day. So instead of making phone calls, it may be easier for them to just keep logged into that system and be able to track it as well. So there'll be some visible cues and information available 24 hours a day, and instead of having it open up in a temporary fashion only during storm events. So quite a bit going on with that. I just want to mention that we're returning to normal operations with our commercial and industrial customers in terms of looking for payment arrangements and doing normal collections on older bills. With that being said, we're offering quite a bit in terms of help with payment arrangements. So I just encourage them to contact our customer service center. And then in regards to that, they're seeing, again, another uptick in scams where people are knowing that we're getting back involved with this and trying to contact businesses and even residents to ask them for payment up front. We're not doing that. That's not Eversource, how we conduct business. So if they, I just encourage anyone that's listening, if they get a phone call to ask for payment up front, please do not do that, and just call our customer service center and talk with one of our representatives to get a clear indication of what is actually happening with their account. It's everybody's trying to find a way to get ahead with unfortunately at the expense of our customers. So I just want to caution that as well.
Good reminder, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Mark? All right. Any other topics? Anyone else have anything to bring up this morning? All righty. I appreciate everybody. Enjoy the day. Thank you for keeping us safe. And I will talk to you guys again soon. We are